Well, good evening. Good evening. I am Shanae Starnes, and I am excited tonight, guys. I'm excited. Just noticed something about my PowerPoint, but we're going to keep it moving, right? Tonight, we're going to discuss understanding your taxes. Tax season officially opens up this year, January 23rd. And we've actually been processing returns already. We call that the pre-acknowledgement. You may see people posting things about, get a loan for up to 7,000, 6,000, but that's where we are. That's the time of year it is, right? So I just found that it would be very important to have a conversation surrounded around your taxes. Okay. So I'm Shanae Starnes, and I am a few things. Tonight, I'm going to serve as your financial professional. I am a licensed health and life insurance agent. I do focus in on under 65 for healthcare as well as Medicare for individuals that may be disabled and they get approved for Medicare, as well as individuals over the age of 65. I'm also a tax pro, and I have really found great interest in this area just due to my own experience as a business owner. And so we're going to talk about some basics tonight. I'll share stories as we go along, but thank you for joining. So I don't know that you know this, but it is an obligation. Good evening. It is an obligation. Excuse me. That's what we're going to cover tonight. Like your obligation and your responsibilities for paying taxes. We're going to talk about tax reporting elements, payroll tax and federal income tax withholding and self-employment tax. I'll hit on that a little bit. E-file, this next bullet point is called electric tax return preparation and transmission. Also, penalties of not paying taxes. I'll hit that a little bit. And then a financial solution. Okay. You can call him what you want. Some may call him Uncle Sam, the red, white, and blue. But this is what happens in our country because we are capitalist. We are a capitalistic country, and so our way to contribute to the pot is through our taxes, right? So let me ask you a few things. Do you really understand your potential obligations for filing taxes and your responsibilities for doing so? Can you identify the different types of taxes that you may be required to pay? Are you aware that there are different ways of filing your taxes? And do you know the consequences of not filing your taxes? Well, let's go back a little bit, right? Your obligation and responsibilities. So Article 1 of the US Constitution, it grants the federal government the power to establish and collect taxes. The IRS administers and enforces the Internal Revenue Code. And I like to look at the IRS as the collection agency for the government. So the IRS is the collection agency for the government, right? And the US income tax system is built on the idea of voluntary compliance. Like if you don't report it, then it's not the IRS doesn't know, right? But there are a lot of ways that they do know, and as we get interly connected more and more electronically, there are definitely ways that the IRS is aware of your tax obligations. And one of the other things to think about, you also want to understand that people who don't report their earnings participate in what's considered to be an underground economy. Think about this whole Cash App thing that's happening nowadays, and Venmo, and just other ways that we're able to pay someone that will affect the taxes. This year, coming up, one of the things is it's called a 1099K form. And when we use the Cash App, when we use those electronic means of paying each other, in the prior code, if your business or if your Cash App or whatever method that you were using electronically ran at least $20,000 through it or 200 transactions, then you would receive a Form 1099-K. Well, that has been pushed back because under the new law, since we've had President Biden, I'm sorry, I can't think of the rescue plan. Now, anything over 600 transactions, but like I stated, that implementation from the IRS has been delayed. But it does not exclude you from reporting the income. It's just that you're not going to get that form after you hit 600 transactions. So if you didn't catch what I said, you may want to rewind the video a little later, especially those that use the Cash App, the Venmo, PayPal, Square, all types of ways to capture people's money, right? So tax reporting components. Most federal revenue comes from income taxes. This is why it's been established. It's been established so that it can support local and state revenue, such as transaction taxes, state and local income taxes, property taxes. Okay, so there's a little more history to it, but this is just a brief overview to let people know that this is not about just getting the W-2 and filing your taxes. It's really about understanding the reason behind it and how to keep from being audited and how to keep more of your money from being taken through filing your taxes. I work with a lot of business owners. I've been in business for many, many years. I have made mistakes in my business due to lack of information, due to knowledge, due to the fact that I turned a blind eye to becoming more informed and educated. Because at the end of the day, the IRS does not care whether you know or not. It is still your due diligence as a taxpayer to understand it. Whether you shoot the argument, well, we didn't learn any of this in school, I get it. But one of the things that you're still held responsible for, if you're earning money, you're making money, the taxes have to be paid on that income. So let's talk about payroll tax and then the federal income tax withholding. I like to really talk about FICA. Many of us that are have a job, when you look at your paycheck, you see the FICA, and I started to understand that that really stands for the Federal Insurance Contributors Act. Okay. And because of that, that is what is pulled out that covers your Social Security and your Medicare. Now, for the record, I need you to understand that that monies that goes into those two pots, Medicare and Social Security, they're only a supplement to what you're supposed to be doing in your life during your lifetime to set yourself up for that day that you need to retire or you need to have your health care. Okay. So FICA, that's what it's for. When you are working for yourself and you file the form for individuals that are self-employed, you are paying into the system as well. So you are still paying towards your Social Security and your Medicare. The key about that is that, you know, who knows, you may have to exercise using some of that money before age 65. According to the government, these taxes were taken out to help the retired, right? Their benefits for their dependents. But over the years, you may have realized that you know someone that's not even 65 and they are eligible to pull disability. One of the things I want you to think about is that you have to work 40 quarters, which is equivalent to 10 years in order to pull. But on top of that, it's based off of your earnings. So if you report low earnings as a business owner year after year after year, when you turn age 65, whatever Social Security that's going to come in is going to be on the low end. So you know how you can find out more about your individual contribution to your Social Security if you wanted to? Go to ssa.gov, set up an account. Back in the day, they used to mail that to us. And I didn't know what I was looking at the time. I would get this printout and I'm like, okay. But now as I'm getting closer to retirement more than I was 20 years ago, it makes more sense and is more important to me now. Federal income tax is used to provide for national programs such as defense, community development, law enforcement, foreign affairs, and interest on the national debt. And this income is shown on a W 4, employees withholding allowance. And let me just cover that very quickly. So if you work for a company, then that form W 4 is what you're going to fill out so that the company can take the payroll taxes out on you and report their portion of it to the IRS because you work for them, right? But you're supposed to also take out, according to filling out that form, a portion of taxes as well. What I see a lot of is that by the time we get what's called a W-2, which many of us are waiting for that to come in the mail before we could file our taxes, when I look at box 2 for withholdings, I don't see anything. I don't know if individuals are understanding that you don't want to withhold. If you do, that's fine. But what's going to happen is when you file your taxes, it's all going to be paid at one time. And that's not the goal. The goal is to fill out the W form with your company, with the employer that you're working with correctly, and have the taxes taken out properly. Now, there's also something called a W-9, and the W-9 is in relation to independent contractors. If you are an independent contractor working with a company, that means that, you just go in, you get the work, you get the income, but you're held on your own. You have to file your own taxes. You would get a form, 1099 NEC for, non-employee compensation. That's what it stands for. And you are to file your own taxes. Just a little sidebar there. For those that are independent contractors, you too have the right to take advantage of some write-offs because you're actually working for yourself. You are actually self-employed, but you are working as a contractor for a company that wants to bid for your business, okay? Wages and tip income, okay? That's going to be shown on your form W-2. Contains your salary, contains your wages, your commission, your bonus, and your tip. I would suggest taking the time when you get that W-2 to look at it. You might be like, well, Dash, and I don't know what the heck I'm looking at. I would please encourage you to start making that a priority to understand it. And I'll just tell you my example. Learning is layered. Like, that's my new foundational conversation to anyone that is starting to embark on anything new. I think we give ourselves too hard of a time and want to know everything. And then we go back to school, how we couldn't learn and all that stuff. I wasn't the best student back in high school. I have my own philosophy on my experience and where I am today. But what I can tell you is to give yourself grace because you need to know this. And I'll tell you why in the end. And understanding this and then tying it to business, it's amazing. But give yourself grace. So start looking at these W-2 forms. Ask your tax preparer, hey, can you kind of go over this with me? Like, I'm more of that educational business person. I want my clients to be aware because the more aware that they are, the more you can have a better understanding. And then they will listen to you when it's time to, go into additional products that's going to be a benefit. But if we have this block up and we don't want to learn, it's too much information, you're going to stay stuck. And I have seen it when it comes to women and men alike who want to start businesses. If you don't take care of the personal understanding of taxes and you don't get it when it comes to the business, then why are you earning money? Because you're just going to get audited. You're just going to miss out on all the write-offs. Your business isn't going to be structured properly. You can't get all that business credit. Like, there is a fundamental and foundational understanding that just needs to be had as we move forward in our lives, right? Because I'm an advocate of a business. We'll talk more about that. But interest income, most interest is subject to taxes. Tax exempt interest income is not subject to income tax. And again, that form is a 1099 INT. And that may be that you may have some dividends or Maybe you have some investments and there's some interest on that. Yeah, you'll get a form and you're going to file your taxes with that. This is important to know that there is something called a taxpayer's due diligence. Taxpayer due diligence. What is due diligence? It is the responsible steps taken by a person in order to satisfy a legal requirement. This is important because as a tax professional, we have to follow tax preparer due diligence. But I was sitting here, I was taking my tests and everything in regards to the upcoming tax season. And I said, no, 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 no. The consumer needs to understand this more, because when we ask you to supply certain documents and we're trying to get you in alignment with what's required of you as you file your tax return, such as, proof of your dependents, such as proof of your income, like going through and making sure that all your T's are crossed and your I's are dotted, because that will cut down on the audit. Now, when you have everything together and your business or your personal taxes is within a due diligence circumstance that you've placed on yourself to make sure you do that, then if you're audited, the IRS is looking for a story. And as long as you can create the path and explain to them why this is happening, what this is from, then there's no reason why the audit can't be in your favor. Again, the IRS is the collection agency of the United States. I said in the beginning, it's a voluntary system. So the other thing is this upcoming tax season, honey, they have enlisted an army full of new IRS representatives. So you really want to get in alignment and look at the word here, legal requirement. The IRS has legal codes. And so I don't want to go too far. Let's keep going because I'll go on and on. So let's talk about those filing statuses. There are 5. And you want to make sure that you have the correct filing status. There are certain circumstances when you may need your filing status is changed, but these are very important and you can very well be audited for the incorrect filing status. Your knowledge and knowing that is what will make you more powerful. Okay. So the 5 filing status is if you're single. Now, if you're single and you don't have a dependent in the household or a relative that you claim on your tax return, then you have to file single. The only way you could file head of household is in relation to a dependent that's a child or a relative. You also have the married filing jointly status, the married filing separately status. And this one is like there are some things that keep you from getting any type of credits. If you had children and you file married filing separately, you will not get the child tax credit. I've run into individuals who want to apply for the premium tax credit for health insurance through Obamacare, or what it's really called the Affordable Care Act. They're unable to get the tax credit. It's not that they can't get enrolled, but they do not get the tax credit. So I had suggested as an example to a couple who files married filing separately to say, hey, just like anything else, maybe I don't know what the reasons are that you're filing separately, but if it's that she told me that she wanted to have a child, they wanted to start their family, I just suggested to her, hey, why don't you just set out for the next 2 years that you'll file your status as jointly, just so that you can get the health credit. I mean, because it's expensive out here. That's a whole nother topic. But just know that it's very important for you to understand why your filing tax status is what it is and actually what it is, right? So exemptions and dependents. Tax exemption is the amount a taxpayer can claim for themselves. And usually you fill that out when you do the W-4, when you work at your employers, right? The spouses and any eligible dependents. Then you have dependency exemptions, which is your qualifying child and your relative. The Tax Job Act that was enacted by President Trump has changed the exemption right now. You don't really get much when it comes to having someone that you claim on your return that usually used to be like a disabled individual. Before this 10-year run, I think it's been 10 years, it'll end, I think, in 2025, where before this, you used to get like a $4,000 exemption, which reduced your income, your taxable income. It was really good. Right now, we are not in those days right now. So exemptions are important. They're there for a reason, because that quantifies like what you'll file on your tax return. Now, here is the big thing, the whole tax credits. People want to have their tax credits. They got the child tax credit, and credits are dollar for dollar reduction in the amount of money owed, that the government is like, here, because your child is under the age of 16, you get this child tax credit, then you get your earned income credit. Listen, these are the most audited um, credits out there, because, and this is why the PATH Act, like many of you will file your taxes on January 23rd, but if you're filing with any dependents, that tax return will not get seen from the IRS. It'll be transmitted to them, but they will not take a look at it until mid-February, because they're combing through to confirm the children on the returns, and that's been out here for a while. So this is why a lot of people may opt to get a loan. I've been in a few tax groups, and I mean, they going in, but at the end of the day, my philosophy is I'm not in anyone's pockets, and people need money. Get your money. Of course, if you do get a loan, just know that there is an interest rate tied to it, and understand what that is, but it's out there as an option, right? But the child tax credit and the additional child tax credit are out there for you if you have children. Dependent care was huge last year, because last year with the dependent care, man, you were getting like $8,000 in tax credit on your tax return. Well, all of that's gone this year. It goes back down to the original amount. Same with the child tax credit. Last year, it was an additional $1,000 for each child. That's back down to 2,000 for the children. Education credits. You go to school, you're in college, you can get the opportunity, American Opportunity Credit. Now, this one is important because you can only get this one up to 4 times, or 4 years. This is for someone that's going off to you can be in a junior college or a 4-year college, but this is not one that you can keep getting year after year after year. If you try to do that, or you don't know that your tax preparer is doing that, you may get a letter in the mail. Okay, so you want to be very careful. The lifetime learning credit is the option for you. You may not get as much, but it is the option for you. And again, we talked about that earned income credit, and the child tax credits. You have to have enough income. It's called earned income credit. So you have to have enough income. And then the flip side of it, if you make too much, you may not see such a credit, right? All right. Standard deductions. The deductions have gone up over the years, and the standard deduction is what you will automatically get just to file your taxes. So you have individuals that will take a standard deduction based off of their filing status. For example, if you're single, the standard deduction for you would be $12,950, right? So if you made $30,000 for the year, your income is going to be taxed minus $12,950. That's because you're taking the standard deduction. Well, if you and this has changed as well, you can file income on something called a Schedule A. And homeowners used to get a real good benefit before the Jobs Tax Act was enacted. But if your write-offs and all of that is above the standard deduction, that's when using a Schedule A, which is just a different schedule, because you have proof that you've spent more out than the standard deduction that the government is giving you. Okay, so then that may benefit you. You may not go for the standard deduction. That's a whole nother a whole lengthy conversation, but it's one that, like I said, learning is layered, and you need to understand it, right? Electric, electronic tax return preparation and transmission. E-file. You hear e-file, e-file. That's it. That's what this is. And so the advantages is that it increased accuracy. Like right now, if you go, let's say you file your tax return and you got a, another, your better half, or maybe not, it's not your better half anymore, but you got a child and you go to file your taxes and the tax preparer comes back and says, well, it looks like this child has already been filed. That is where the electronic e-file system is important, right? So there is a way that you can combat that type of situation. If you come across that, talk to your tax preparer about that. E-filing is easy, it's quick, and you get the ability for your tax and your state returns to be filed at the same time. I'm hoping that this information is helpful. If you are leaving any comments, I cannot see them right now, but I'm hoping that in my heart, it feels so good to be able to share this information, because your girl was not good at the whole tax thing. And I want everybody to say, you know what? That daggone Shanae, she gonna make me. You daggone right. I'm gonna make you want to understand this because it's very critical. Um, and again, the accuracy of the e-file, you can use a PIN number, it's secure. You get your direct deposits. In some cases, it could be free, depending on where you get your taxes prepared, or a low-cost filing. And again, you can file your state and your federal at the same time. Well, let's talk about this. The consequences of not paying taxes. And again, I'm in some tax groups, y'all, and I'm like, oh my goodness. Whew. Listen, the reason why I want you to become more informed about your taxes is because if there is an issue with your taxes, the IRS is going to send you the letter, right? And be wary of and I have never fallen into the whole, oh, they're getting back 9,000. Oh, you see all these income claims through social media. Oh, she got back 12,000. And I'm like putting my numbers in and I'm looking at it. I got the client's information. I'm like, I ain't getting that. I'm learning that there's some things that are not actually correct. And so at the end of the day, you don't want to get caught up in that. You want to make sure, again, look at your W-2s. Ask your tax preparer when you get your paperwork to go over it with you, making sure that you understand it, because that's how you'll get better at advocating for yourself, right? And if your tax preparer offers audit protection, get it. Get the audit protection in case you are audited. That is like a third party that will help you get your taxes taken care of, especially if you have a business. I would consider that. But tax evasion, we've seen stars out there. And I mean, there's some people here locally, like in your town or what have you, deliberately or willingly hide income from the IRS, right? Or they falsely claim deductions. They otherwise cheat the government out of what is owed. What I tell you, the IRS is what? The collection agency. And it's illegal. The consequences will include penalties, fines, interest charges, possible jail sentence. One of the things that I would implore upon you or suggest that you explore is going to the irs.gov and just start to look at it, understand it. Just because it's about numbers, I got people, oh, I ain't good at numbers. I forget that. This is about your life, because if you owe taxes and you leave here intestate without a will, and you have life insurance policies that you're the beneficiary of, do the research on it. They're going to get what's back and past due. If you owe taxes, take it 1 year at a time. And just know, just because you're backlogged with your taxes doesn't change the cost, especially if you go to a tax preparer, of what it's going to cost you per year to get those tax returns taken care of. It's just that maybe you need to talk to them to find out what is the best route. If you owe over about 7,000 to 10,000 and you want to do like a fresh start, or you want to be a part of a program, that's available as well too, right? This is how you might feel, because I did, honey. I did not want to hear about this. I was just like, okay, file my taxes, give me my money, boom, boom, and bida bam and booda bang. That was it. Um, but I kept feeling like this. I've been audited a couple of times. I've seen some things happen to businesses, and it's just not a good feeling. Like at some point in your life, you have to stop and decide to be a change in your own life. If not, that's when things just keep snowballing because you're ignoring things. And so we don't want to do that anymore. We don't want to do that anymore. So I just wanted to share something with you. I do have a special offer, and it's a 3-month tax and financial strategies membership. It's called Money Jump. And it kept raining in my brain. So JUMP really stands for take the journey to understand money, period, point blank, to prosperity. Like I kept saying, do I want to talk business? I'm going to talk about it all, because I do talk business and I help individuals. And I realize that it's all rooted in their understanding of taxes. Like you go to these multi-level marketing businesses, and multi-level marketing is a great option. And they say, oh, you can write this off and you can write, but they're not explaining it, right? So really understanding the benefits of you making money in your business would maybe motivate you if you understood taxes. Now you hear all over the internet, well, you can put your car in your business name, or all these different things. You know what I'm talking about. You got TikTok, you got Reels. You know what I'm saying to you. But if you don't have a business and if it's not structured properly, then you can't even partake in that. All you're doing is wasting time looking, unless you are absorbing and you are deciding to make a change and you're going to take action. That's different, right? So in this connection that we're going to have, right? We're going to be dealing with mental money shift knowledge. And as an educator, I really want to dive into some things that I've learned being a teacher that I was trained in, and how people learn. I want to share that with you all, because I want you to accept the way that you learn and know that there is a philosophy behind it. And that once you grasp that, you can give yourself a little bit of grace so that you can start being a student again. When you graduated high school umpteen years ago, or college umpteen years ago, and so on and so forth, that ain't when the learning actually stopped. We thought it did, maybe in some cases, and we just got the humdrum of every day going on. But I'm here to tell you that no, life is about continuous learning. I learn something new every day. I want to learn something new every day. I want to be better than I was the other day, right? So, unlimited financial advice on demand, completely unbiased professional insight, business formation, estate and retirement planning, tax reduction strategies. And the main thing, I'm really wanting to work with individuals that would love to start a business. I do get that request, and I said to myself, I just have to put things together in a program so that I can help move people from point A to B to C. Because again, I do healthcare. I also do taxes. So I'm going in my season. So I needed to curate maybe some individuals collectively so I can move them through a process. And they're going to get additional training within this group bi-weekly. We're going to talk about the difference between the employee and the business owner. And we're going to be talking about record keeping tips as a business owner. How do you get your business set up? What are the difference between the entities, the LLC? You hear that a lot. But what does that actually mean? What does that mean to your business? And I'm just excited to be able to share this. What will you get? The membership to make your wealth goals real around other people, around forward thinking individuals, around people who want to see you win, around people who are speaking the language that you really want to speak, but you're not connected to those that are speaking it. So when you share your ideas, they don't understand what you're talking about. And that's the example I use of the giraffe and the turtle. You got two giraffes and they're talking, but there's a turtle in the middle. Well, that's too far down. They can't hear what you're talking about. So it's my friend, Coach Sharon. She talks about the eagle and the chicken. And I said, was it the eagle and the pigeon and the chicken? So just having that analogy of understanding that sometimes you have to move from where you are and get to places where you don't know anything so you can learn something. So the membership is to help reach your wealth goals. And you might say, I ain't got none. Well, I'll help you get some. The typical price, of course, this will cost hundreds and thousands of dollars. Of course, I've spent that. Hear me clearly. I've spent money on my degrees. I've spent money on coaching. I've spent money on webinars. I've spent money on classes. And so I feel like I'm in a position where I'm able to help other people to get unstuck. If I was able to get myself unstuck through coaching and through mentorship of the investment that I paid, then I want to work with individuals that's going to take the same thing and the same step that I did, right? Those who don't manage their money will always work for those who do. I want to flip that script. I like working with a company. I don't necessarily not like it. And I used to feel like, oh, I need to just jump out and have a business and so on and so forth. But honestly, the gig is get you a side gig, get you a part-time, get you a hustle. I don't care how you say it. I've been in so many different groups and people talk about what to call it. It doesn't matter. Start something relating to helping others and get paid for it. Use your knowledge, use your experience, use your life um, challenges and turn them into good. Speak about that with others through whatever product that you want to offer. We are in America. Why do we always have to work for the company that's in business? Did you know that the IRS code was written for and favoring businesses? So where is your business? You're scared. You don't know what to do. You don't know what to say. You don't know where to start. Are the people going to buy from me? Don't let that be it. Let God handle all of that. Just get it in position. Stay consistent. Understand who your audience is. Understand why you need the business plan. I'm going to cover all of that. What is marketing? What is the market analysis? Why do you have to look at the competitors? This is what big business does. Does it matter that Walmart is maybe across the street from Target? No, because they have already decided who their target markets are. And I always say to people that as long as you remain open in business, then you'll always have somebody walking through the door. You might have to tweak your marketing and get up and get going and maybe hire some people. Maybe this all sounds overwhelming, but if you don't never start, then you'll never get in the motion of what is really happening out here. At least get in the motion and try and then come back and say, Shanae, girl, no. But you can't talk to me about it if you have not decided to do something new, something fresh, and something different that's been in your belly. Enough suffering has been had, and you can turn that into income to help other women, help other men. So don't take chances with your finances anymore. I actually want to work with individuals that want to get their retirement up. You know that you're hitting closer to retirement, whatever that looks like, and that's a facade too. I grew up thinking retirement was age 65. No, retirement is whenever you want to retire, you just can't outlive your money. But if you in a situation right now where if you had to stop working, that your kids had to take care of you, that wasn't a part of the plan. The part of the plan was that you got yourself together to a point where you were able to get your money, put your money in places that built money, okay, such as your Roth IRAs, such as your traditional IRAs or your 401ks, including the Be Your Own Bank with the Index Universal Life policies. Like, this is serious talk. And on social media, it goes, you just sitting there listening to it when actually you need to get something done about it. Many of us can get life insurance, but guess what? You may not be able to get the best because you're ill. Life insurance is really best when you're young. So we got to teach our kids that, and they can get to the bag a lot easier with compound interest when they have utilized some of the products that are out there. So anyway, get money jump, start your business. Let's get in a group together so that we can dialogue. I don't like doing this alone. I always say I love collaboration. I love locking arms, and I love to learn, and I learn from people. I know when to be the teacher and I know when to be the student. So what is this? It's 149, and this product is going to help with multiple things, but the main thing is to look at accessing structure for your business, talking with an attorney, having access to them for 90 days. In the midst, the goal is for us to go ahead and get your will completed. Why you got a business and you ain't got a will? Who you willing the business off to? Do you know entrepreneurship is a lucrative literacy? Entrepreneurship. And I'm saying this, y'all, because I teach cosmetology, been doing it for 11 years. And some of these babies, adults, kids, and what have you, they're not getting the support necessary. I think cosmetology is a wonderful, lucrative career to have. But when I have to debate and look at the children who are eager about it, but they don't have that support because they're looking at the doing of the hair and how monotonous it is not an easy job. We talk about ergonomics of the body and everything because it'll tire you out. But the amount of money as a business owner that you can make is what made me so excited. I realized that once I understood the business of cosmetology, that it didn't matter where I went. My skills were transferable to insurance agent, I could be a real estate agent if I wanted to. I could be whatever I want because I done built the foundation. The product and what I sell or what I offer can change. And so that's all. I want to allow us to get together, make the investment. Right now, it's what you call open enrollment. When you get the funds, contact me. I'll be doing more videos. Let's talk. Let's go ahead and get this ball rolling. This is first quarter still, and I want to know and have some successes by second quarter. So by the end of the year, okay, because I'm gonna teach you about the profit loss statements, all of that, right? By the end of the year, you've made a profit. Because if you're sitting out there with an LLC and you ain't making no money in your LLC, you don't know quite what it does, why you have it, then that's not good. And you're paying North Carolina, I'm just speaking for North Carolina, you're paying money to the state just to have it active, and you're not making any money in the business. Like my LLC motivates me to say, hey, I'm using my EIN number. I got my LLC to protect me, and we'll go through all of what it does. And I'm also able to get my Dun and Bradstreet number. See, businesses like to do business with businesses. Okay. So just think about that. So the question is, do you have a business or do you have a hobby? Or better yet, do you want a business or you just want to play around with this? You want to play around with God's gift that he gave you, whether it was the gift of gab, whether it's the gift of your knowledge, whether you have a skill set that is like no other. We are in the information age. I mean, to tell you, you can take knowledge, package it up and sell it, and you have a bona fide business. Let's talk. Let's talk about that. You can use multi-level marketing. That's different than pyramid scheme and all of that. We can talk about what those differences are. I don't subscribe to that because I know too many people that has made money in it. The problem is that people are not investing in themselves to make themselves better speakers, to make themselves better salespeople. Businesses are in the business of making money. So that means that they're in the business to sell. If you're operating as a stylist, as a professional, as a real estate agent, as an insurance agent, whatever it is that you do, and you're not making money, then you got to check your business, which you are the business. What is it that you need to do with you to make you a better operator of the business until you can scale up? We're going to talk about the 4 quadrants to cash flow. Very needed. These are life-changing things. So here, talking about tax reduction, I don't want to pay the most taxes. I ain't out here wanting to pay the most. That's why I want to learn how not to in a legal way. Being your own bank, we'll tap on that through life insurance. I'll cover that. We'll also do the wills. We'll do power of attorney for financial and health. Trust. You'll have access to getting all that information asked and understood. And we want to grow. You got profit and loss, legal structures, taxpayer due diligence. Yeah, y'all. Let's get it popping. So what you gonna do? You gonna barbecue or mildew? What we doing? All right. So guys, I just enjoy financial wealth building. Knowledge is power, and financial knowledge is not only powerful, but it's priceless. It's priceless. Your knowledge, your wisdom, due to having knowledge, but when you gain understanding, that right there can take you many places that lack of it can never take you. And I've seen the best of them come from the dirt, come from all types of hurt and harm in their childhood, and they've just one day just said, you know what, I'm going to take my pain and I'm going to make prosperity do what it do with it. As long as I ain't dead and gone and buried, I got an opportunity. I got a chance. That's how I live. That's how I want to be. I want to be around other people that think the same. Everybody may not be built to be a business, but you can be, right? So I really hope that you got some information today. And my name is Shanae Starnes. And thank you guys for all the messaging. And you know what? I see you ride or die. You done hung on to the bitter end. Thank you so much. That means a lot. It really does. And until next time, take the journey to understand money, period, point blank to prosperity. I'm your girl, Shanae Starnes. Peace.